Well, it's great to be back out again after returning from my trip to Scotland where I hiked the Great Glen Way. If you haven't caught that video, then I'll stick the playlist up here somewhere and maybe you can check that out afterwards. What I thought today was I'd come out to my friend's farm and I'll just take you through the tent that I took on that trip, which was the Fjallraven Abisko Lite one. I've been using this tent quite a bit recently and some people have asked for me to do a video just to run you through it. So yeah, that's what we're going to do. So we'll set it up and I'll run through some of the specs. So the first thing that you might notice is that this isn't actually a Fjallraven tent bag. This is a snug pack dry bag. And basically what I've done is I've removed the tent out of the original bag and I carry it in this dry bag. And I prefer to do that is because this dry bag is slightly longer, which means that I can leave the supporting poles that go in the end of the tent in, which makes this tent quicker to set up and pack down. Okay, so let's take a look what we get in the bag. So in the bag you will get the tent itself, a set of poles and a set of pegs, and inside that peg bag I've also got the repair kit as well. So before I came out I threw it on the scales and it came in at just over 2 kilos. Now that does include the footprint, which you do have to purchase separate. Okay, so let's put it up. Okay, so the way that I like to do this is just open it up, and like I say, I leave the supporting poles in the end already there. So find the door, which is this way. The footprint is already on there. It's a bit windy today, so just loosely just get a couple of pegs in it, then you know it's not going to blow away. And up to the other end. Like I say, just loosely just take these out. So it really is just a one pole through the center design. Pre-bent. These are DAC poles, so really good quality. You just keep feeding that through and it automatically seats in the other end. Now, there is an option on this tent to put twin poles in this if you want, but you have to buy the extra pole separately. That's if you're going into real windy conditions, then you maybe want to put that second pole in. So what we'll do now is we'll just stake out that centre pole, this side and the other side. Now what I normally do is just redo these end poles and then start guying it out. So there we go, pretty much set up, just tension a few things off and I think we're there. So as we move inside, one of the brilliant things that I love about this tent is this kind of washing line. And while I was away in Scotland, I used this just to hang lights, dry my socks on. Yeah, actually great idea. Also, it is a one-man tent, so it is quite small, but you do have a few side pockets. You have one near the top, one in the middle at the bottom, and one at the head end as well. Ideal just for putting your phone in and keys, that kind of stuff as well. So at either end of the tent, we've got these vents here, these zippers, which helps with the condensation. Now, because this is a 4-season tent, these do suffer quite badly with condensation given the optimum conditions. Now what you can do is reach right through here, and there is another zip which you can open up, and that then gives you plenty of ventilation coming backwards and forwards throughout the tent, and helps with the condensation massively. So just got a brew on to get some food, tent's up. So I thought I'd just go over some of the stats. So this is a single person tent, so it is quite small. Now it's the inner tent is only 90 centimeters from floor to ceiling. Now I'm about 6 foot, and I can sit up inside it, but my head does actually touch the top. It's 55 centimeters wide at either end, at the head end and at the foot box, and at its widest end it's 90 centimeters. So from the middle here back to there, it's 90. Now I can get sleeping bag, mat, all my kit pretty much in here, pack in the vestibule, and I haven't really had any problems getting dressed or anything like that in it. You kind of have to get used to it. It's as with all kind of small tents. When I was in Scotland, I had an issue with blisters, so I had to treat those. So you know, it's I didn't have any issues with that at all. I managed to sort of, you know, dress and all of that kind of stuff as well. So it's tight, but it's adequate. Right, I'm going to get this down my neck and probably stick a movie on and hit the sack. See you in the morning. Well, good morning. It's probably about 6:30. Had a really good night's sleep. It was pretty nippy in the night actually, although it was quite warm. So have experienced a bit of condensation like you do a lot with all 4-season tents. Obviously being nice and warm inside the tent and the air being very cold outside, and with no wind, obviously all the moisture that you expel from your body with your sweat and breath, condensates on the cold fabric. I did have the vents open and the door open a little bit, but have still got a little bit of condensation this morning. So I guess it's time to get up and have some breakfast and a cup of coffee and start to pack up. Right, let's get it on. So one of the great things about this tent is there is enough room in the vestibule to cook on. When I was in Scotland the other week, especially when the weather was bad, I managed to have this door shut and could cook really easy, had plenty of room to get a brew on and make some food. So, got quite a big pack. It's a Carrymore Sabre 60/100 with the side pockets, and that tucks in pretty nicely in the vestibule as well. So as one-man tents go, it's cosy, but there's enough room. As I said before, you've got 90 centimetres worth of height internally at the apex, and I can just about sit up in it. I think anything higher, with a higher profile, would struggle in high winds. So you got a brew on the go, and breakfast this morning is a Summit to Eat scrambled egg with cheese. I have to say they're not the best of the Summit to Eat meals, but it was a leftover from my trip to Loch Ness when I did the South Loch Ness Trail. I'll put a link up here to that video if you haven't already seen it. Still really enjoying using this MSR reactor stove. That gas canister has lasted 3 days on the trail, on the Great Glen Way, last night and this morning. Just seems really super efficient, and I think the reason that I like it over the jet boil is sometimes I struggle with the jet boil in this kind of circumstances because the jet boil clicks in, and I always find it a bit of a faff to unclick it to put it on, whereas this is just sits snug over the top with a little bit of a lip, and you can just lift it on and off. Obviously you have to be extra careful not to knock it over. I have got the hanging kit for it as well, which I've yet to use. quite closed. Cheers. So packing away is pretty straightforward as well. These pegs have loops on them, which makes them really easy to pull out. Although sometimes these loops do actually, the knots come undone. It's not windy this morning, so I can pretty much pull all the pegs out. If it was windy, I'd leave two end ones in, stop the tent blowing away. Taking the centre pole out is pretty easy, but as with all tents, some of the times you kind of do have to tease it out a little bit. So what Fjallraven did with this tent is they've made each section of this pole very short, so you can fit it into like a very narrow bag. But like I've said before, I've kind of removed it from that bag just so I can keep those longer gold poles in on the tent, which kind of makes it a bit more quicker to set up and pack down, really. Just give it a bit of a shake, get the worst of the water off. Fair bit of condensation. Then what I do, I fold all of the guy ropes into the middle. This just keeps it tidy and just helps when you're okay. So this is obviously quite wet, so this will be taken out the bag when I get back and hung on the air. So we've got these gold poles at the end now. and that's what I'll use as my guide to roll the tent up. Wet tents, eh? Always the best things to pack away. So there we go. Pretty much that. Just take that and put it in the bag. In the bag. Poles. Pegs. There we go, all packed up, ready to go home. So there, all packed, ready to go. So I'll leave a link in the website and in the comments where you can pick one of these tents up from. Any questions, don't forget to leave them in the comments, and have a great day, and I'll catch up with you soon.